Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Monday morning. I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone is all right. And look forward to a good week. Obviously, I think a lot of people are back to work this week, so just get through this week. All right. In this video, we are talking about, well, really, we're talking about a lot of things. We're going to be starting off talking about the interesting reports from David Ornstein surrounding Ange, his security at Spurs, and the fact that it is very secure, his future. We'll be talking as well about potentially Ange being banned on the sidelines, and I'll tell you about that in a second. We're going to talk about what we're looking forward to going forward in terms of transfer activity. We have updates on Cardoso, Evan Ferguson, Thomas Christensen. There's quite a bit, to be honest, to get through. I didn't expect it to be as much as there was, but there is a lot. So we talk about all of that. Just want to say that if you're watching this, you subscribe. Very much welcome to join us for the journey. And by the way, shout out everyone. We passed 3,400 subscribers, I think, yesterday. So thank you to everyone that has subscribed. Very much appreciate it. Maybe I don't say it enough, but I do very much appreciate it. Thank you very much. Morning, Sean, Harper, Spurs, Baza, Dees, Alez, Al Dante. Have a good day, lads. Have a good day. Right, let's talk about the transfer news that's come out because, well, actually, no, let's start with Ange. Because David Ornstein, now, again, a lot of you maybe don't know who David Ornstein is. If we think about the Fabrizio Romanos of the world, Ornstein is, you would say, the only person who's on the same level as him. Okay, so this is a really, really big source. And when he says, he doesn't do like the Fabrizio where he just churns out quotes and churns out transfers. When he says something, it's very well sourced and it's going to happen. And when he says something, it means it's happening there and then, sort of thing, right? So he's come out and said that Ange Postecoglou's job is 100% safe at Tottenham. They're backing him to lead this project forward, which, David, first and foremost, have yourself a great day for that. It's good because actually, do you know what? No manager's fixing in this situation right now until we get some health back. And I think this week we will be getting some players back. Now, we won't get a lot back because obviously against Liverpool in a couple of days' time, we're down 2 players from last week's game against Newcastle. We get 2 back. Well, they should be back. And if they're not back, then there's question marks over the medical team, Ange, the club, the whole lot. But there should be 2 back. Well, 3 back, actually. 3. Bentancur is the third one in my head that I forgot about. But the fact that they are giving the 100% backing, and it does sort of coincide with the transfer market attitude that they are looking to be busy in January. They are looking to bring in, at least a few players. And I thought they'd only bring in 2. Now, I could still be right there. Obviously, you never know. And there's still about, just over about 3.5 weeks to the end of the window. I still think we get 2. I said 3 now because I thought the keeper would come in the summer, so 3. But you never know. You never know. The world works in mysterious ways. But, the actions speak louder than words always comes to mind in this sort of conversation, So, always good stuff. Morning, Jazz, Dean, Jonah, love from Brunel. Oh, I love that. Hello, how are we? Flat Cat Pete, how are you, mate? Thanks very much, mate. Mike's a bit messy. Might just hold it here. It'll sort itself out. But look, regardless, it's a bit of good news to start off with. So moving a little bit on, let's talk about the other bit of news coming out about Ange. And it comes from the Football League world, who have said that Ange Postecoglou is facing a potential ban for his post-match comments after the Newcastle match. Now, my issue with this is, now, if you are an American football fan like me, nothing to do with him, he's okay. It was the 2014 Super Bowl media day, right? Now, they always have basically after the NFC and AFC championship games, they have a couple of weeks and then it's the Super Bowl, right? And they have a media day where the media comes and asks all the questions of the coaches and the players. And Marshawn Lynch, if you know him, the former Seattle Seahawks running back, he didn't turn up to the one previous in 2013. He got fined for it. Okay. I think it was 2013. He got fined for it. So he turned up the following year and they were asking him all these questions. And his exact response, every single one, was, I'm just here so I don't get fined. All he said, right? And now, don't get me wrong, Ange obviously probably, he didn't say anything really, but he said probably a bit more than that, obviously. This is just showing that the fact that the governing bodies, the FA and the Premier League, haven't got a clue what they're doing. They constantly pick on Spurs for no reason. Well, not for no reason. They pick on Spurs and then bottle it when it comes to other teams. I mean, look, we know the Premier League and the FA are scared of teams like Chelsea and Man City, right? We know that. But we know of situations that are so similar and players do not get banned. We've got players who maybe don't say a lot, and maybe we don't bite on things very much, and maybe we're easy targets in that regard. You know, it's like you being at work. You constantly being given, crap assignments, crap things to do, even though it's not your job, but you don't say anything. It just continues until you have a blow up and everyone kind of goes, whoa, all right, fair enough. Didn't see that one coming. We don't say anything, and maybe that's why we're the easy targets. But I can constantly see just on the other side of North London, their manager constantly bemoan, slag off officials. Nothing happens. Then Ange doesn't really do that and just says, look, another day, that game doesn't go the way it does. Oh, well, that's disgusting. And it's like, let's have some consistency. Let's have some consistency, shall we? But look, we'll see. Hey, Cozy, how are you, mate? Look, he won't get banned. He won't get banned. The fact that it's even being talked about is a joke in itself. So you know what I mean? I think, Jazz, I think you might be right. Maybe it's a fine. Maybe it's a warning. Little, hey, don't do that again. Azza, how are you, mate? This is all because of the press probing. Speak to any manager after those incidents, and you're going to get a reaction. Absolutely, Hannah. I agree. Absolutely. Right, let's move on. Let's talk. Do you know what? Let's talk some transfers, shall we? That's what we're all here for. You're all sitting there going, Andy, get to the transfers, mate. I want to know when Spurs are going to do something. All right. Just a quick update story on Kinski and his registration. Situation at the moment is that he has to go past the work permit and a few other little sort of technicalities. Normally takes about 48 hours. Tom Barkley saying it's unlikely he will be registered in time for the Liverpool game on Wednesday. I don't think that's shocking to anyone. You know what I mean? I didn't think he was going to be involved Wednesday. I assumed the weekend following. Tamworth might be the game that he starts in even. You know what I mean? He could start in that game against Tamworth. And obviously, he could be Austin. I don't think you need, Forster right now, Forster hasn't been bad, right? He hasn't been. The play out from the back is obviously not great, but as a shot stopper, he's been magnificent. Austin looked pretty solid. The goals that he conceded, I couldn't blame him for either one of those. But what happens on Wednesday? Does Forster recover from illness in time? It took Mikey Moore 2 and a bit months. Maybe Forster, it takes a bit of time. Archie Gray and Dragoshin aren't 100%. They played because they felt they had to because there's no one else to play at centre-back. We'll have to see on that one, really. Great to see Ange's back in. That shuts up the Ange out Warriors, absolutely. I said Kinski of Tamworth. Don't hate it. You have to register by 12 Tuesday. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be done in time, Caleb. How are you, by the way, mate? Morning, Sonia. For what Forster is, he's been good. Yeah, I didn't expect tons, and, I'm glad I didn't. David Ornstein time, because we've got some more stuff out of the big man himself. He has said that Spurs want to do more business in January. I think we all know that. They would like to strengthen the defence and the attack. He says, I think loans are on the agenda and possibly some permanent deals like Kinski if they can bring it forward. And things for me, right? Obviously, people talk, you'll get people in the summer go, God, we're not having a crazy summer. We're not spending 200 plus million. What are we doing? Because I think they might bring some of those deals that they're thinking about in the summer and they might pull them forward 6 months. Which, if they did that and they went, look, we're not spending as much in the summer because we spent more in January, I would actually somewhat understand that. That's just logical thinking. Look, don't get me wrong. You'll get some people going, we should spend £800 million every single window. But we have to be realistic of who we're working with up there. I'd rather do some business now and not punt on this season. And also the other thing that you could say is, hey, if you get players in now, they've got 6 months until the summer. Then they have a pre-season. So by the time they actually start the season coming up, next one, they're way more settled. They know how to play Ange Ball, and they know what the jobs are now. So you wouldn't have to sort of bleed them in the summer. They're already way ahead of that. Also, the nice thing is they'd be here ahead of the tour as well, and that's quite a great time to sort of gel people together. So, if we are bringing, I think Kinski was probably a deal that we brought forward. I don't know if he would always been the guy. Obviously, I know we were linked to, buying goalkeepers, a Fiorentina goalkeeper as well. Can't remember the name. They're not really relevant now. Maybe they brought forward a deal for a goalkeeper to now, and we're gonna get them in the summer. And if they do that, I totally get it. I totally get they did that, and there's no issues from me. And if it's, let's say they go, look, we were always going to get to this window. We brought forward the keeper. We're going to bring forward a centre back, or we're going to bring forward a right winger. Okay, I get the thinking. The summer you're still going to bring in 4 or 5. You're probably bringing 4 or 5 anyway in the summer. But I don't hate that. I know some people will get annoyed by that, but I don't hate that as much. When's Yang going to play? There's no rush to put him in the team, Adis. There's no rush. But look, on the fact that it's the defence and the attack, I think that's to be expected. I know some people want to talk about we should be looking at midfielders, and I do get that. And yet, I know I'm going to be talking about Cardoso in a minute, and people might say, well, why isn't Cardoso not being someone that we should consider? And they might, like I said, it doesn't mean they're not going to do the midfielder, and they might bring the Cardoso deal forward and say, look, he was going to be done in the summer. We'll consider it a summer move, but he's 6 months ahead of schedule. You factor that into transfer plans. Maybe they do that. Or maybe they go, look, we're going to do this, and then the summer we are selling a midfielder to sort of, squad spot-wise, even it out, blah, blah, blah. I don't hate that. It does make some good sense, Summer is striker time, I think. I think summertime is striker as well. Don't hate that, Harper. We just get a right winger. No, I think at the moment you'd probably say Kulusevski is the right winger. I mean, I just said right winger as a natural thing, but I think right winger will be Kulu. He'll be featured out there, as well as obviously centrally, but I think he'll be featured out there if we don't get the target we truly want, Hey, Big D, Matt, how are you? Tough few weeks. When's it not a tough few weeks as a Spurs fan, eh? Any truth in Muani? There is some, yeah. Bring back Vertonghen and Alderweireld. Oh, those were the days, mate. Those were the days. Right, moving on. Let's talk about Cardoso, because we do have an update from Rudy Giletti, which we'll see how this one works out. But he said that Tottenham are exploring various options for the midfield, which I think we are. I do think we are. I'll come back to that in a minute. Including the possibility of anticipating the signing of Johnny Cardoso already in January. Meanwhile, Real Betis want to strengthen their squad with at least 2 new central midfielders, with several options under evaluation. Now, we know, obviously, one of those options is Stefan, the Liverpool player. We know that. But the interesting thing about that is, and by the way, I don't actually hate the idea surrounding bringing the Cardoso deal forward, because obviously at the end of the day with Cardoso, it's someone that we all expect to join here. If it wasn't to happen, I would say the next 6 months of this season, let's say he doesn't join this window, this is hypothetical. If he next 6 months of the season obviously wouldn't have gone very well. Spurs obviously still have a portion of the player. They own a portion of the player already. They'd probably just, get that money back, or, if someone does buy him, Spurs make the money back there. So I get that. Now, Betis are a little bit cash strapped, so Spurs could look towards maybe the end of this window to kind of put the thumb down on them and just see, could you squeeze them? Could you go, come on, you need some money. We really need a 6, to be honest, but you need some money. Come on, let's do this. Maybe it's time, Al Dente with a super chat. Appreciate them. As no membership options, cause good work on streams. Appreciate Al Dente. There is membership options in the. You should be able to join. I don't know. You should be able to join. There is membership options. I think it's like £2 a month. I'll have a look at that. If not, Johnny Carlos will not come to Spurs in January. I don't think so, but I wouldn't say it's a definitive no, it's not going to happen. It'd be weird to do. Oh, yeah, you get rid of it, Caleb. All right. It's on there, Andy. Oh, okay. Harper, you might need to help Al Dente in case, because I can't see it. But regardless, Al Dente, legend for the super chat, mate. Appreciate that. What about Bergval Cardoso loan swap? Let's keep Bergval. So which player is going to be nominated to be thrown into the world of insults and constant worries? Well, Dragić's probably the number one at the moment. You know, he probably is number one at the moment. Moving on, though, because I want to talk about, I guess, let's talk about Thomas Christensen actually really quickly first and foremost, because I don't see this deal happening. This would be a really, I think, unpopular deal with some Spurs fans, by the way. So the Udinese centre-half, Thomas Christensen, is attracting interest from clubs such as Tottenham Hotspur, Leicester City and Bayer Leverkusen. They talk about sort of like a 16, 17 million pound bid. I mean, he's played 8 times this season for Udinese, playing just under 550 minutes. So not really a big body of work there. He joined in the summer of 2023 from Aarhus GF for, I think it was 5 million euros. He's not capped by the Danish national side. I mean, he's 22. He's quite a big centre-half, actually. He's quite a big centre. He looked decent on the ball from what I witnessed of him. He looked decent on the ball, you know, plays through the lines quite nicely. Kind of like what you would find a Christian Romero would do. Plays through the lines. But for me, this isn't the move that I'd be going for, because I think also he plays a little bit more so on the right-hand side of the defence, which, of all the places that we're struggling in terms of the defence, that's probably the area, well, other than right-back, obviously. Right-back, it seems to be, that's our fittest part of our defence. But in terms of the centre-half area, you want to look, we want to be working more on the left-hand side. And I know Ange said he doesn't view centre-halves as left centre-back or right centre-back. I totally get that, and I kind of do the same. But at the same time, if we could get a guy who maybe more is prominently featured on the left-hand side, knowing that Van der Ven is more injury-prone than Romero, I feel like that would make a bit more sense, you know? So, any news on us signing a centre-back and left-back? Well, there's Thomas Christensen. Just talked about him. Tomorrow links have gone quiet. Well, I think that deal isn't going to be quiet for this window. I think Milan want to cash in. The Christensen deal is not the one. Oh, welcome to the membership. There you go, Ardente. Appreciate that, mate. Welcome to being a member. I do need to do a members video today or tomorrow. That will be out, okay? And also, the loan roundup will be back tomorrow because we've had so much good stuff recently. Jamie Donnelly is playing some magical football down at Leyton Orient. There's a new guy on the market who seems quite promising. I think his name is Semi Kilik. So, oh, don't start, Marshall. I thought you got rid of it. I thought you got rid of it, mate. Jesus Christ. Let's talk Evan Ferguson, Kolo Muani, that realm, because Team Talk have said that Spurs are considering a loan move for Evan Ferguson. Now, for me, on the Evan Ferguson side of things, he doesn't play enough at Brighton. I mean, Danny Welbeck's keeping him out of the team. Not a dig at Danny Welbeck. Not a dig at Danny Welbeck, I promise you. But if you're a young player who, he's like, what, 20 now, 19, 20, something like that, and you can burst on the scene, you're supposed to be this really big name player. Brighton wanted like 120 million for you, and you can't get ahead of Danny Welbeck, there has to be question marks. And I know he's had some injury issues, but there still has to be question marks. Because he'd be coming from Brighton, who he's the second striker, to Spurs, and hell, he might even be the third striker behind Richarlison. And that's not to say he's better at Richarlison or worse at Richarlison. I'm just saying, if you spent 60 million on Richarlison, you probably want to try and play him, get some value on him, cash in on him, and make some money back. So it doesn't make a ton of sense for me. It doesn't make a ton of sense for me, this deal. But the reason is they're talking about it is, you know, if there is that report that if a deal for Kolo Muani maybe falls through, then Evan Ferguson is definitely maybe one they will look at. I mean, there's talk about how we've got people out in France trying to negotiate a deal for Kolo Muani, which I don't really know, to be honest. I really don't know, if I'm honest, on that side of things. But yeah, I think I don't think this is the move. I really don't. I think. Do you know what? I'd probably prefer Kolo Muani for his versatility than I would an Evan Ferguson. I think Ferguson would suit us play style wise, though. That's the difference between him and Kolo Muani, is that he'd suit our play style wise. But can we bank on him being injury free? That's another concern that I have on a player like an Evan Ferguson. Would Brighton want him to go out on loan to a team where he's not guaranteed first team football? I think they'd rather him play week in, week out, keep developing, so he comes back in the summer, and maybe they start to go, actually, yeah, Danny Welbeck is, as he, he's on the way down due to him being as old as he is. Let's get Ferguson more featured into being a prominent striker for us. But it wouldn't make any sense behind a Solanke. He might play some European football or some cup football, but he's not going to be obviously playing week in, week out for us. Solanke's been very, very good. I mean, of all the misery of this season, Solanke's been one of the real positives out of this, I'm fully sport playing Van der Ven. I can't wait to see Mickey back. I don't know about you. What about Valise? Oh, well, there's that as well. I expect, if they're going to send Valise back to us, he'll go back on loan, We should wait until the summer to look for a striker unless it's David on a free, which we negotiate now. Well, I mean, what did Paul O'Keefe say about David? It was like he reckons Daniel Levy would like a deal like that. I mean, I've said it all along, when a guy is on a free, Daniel Levy is twerking about a deal. Keep up the great work, Andy. Happy you are earlier tonight than last night, as it's 9:52 p.m. here in Sydney after another beautiful hot day. Probably shouldn't have mentioned the weather, sorry. Well, it's been snowing in England and it's been raining. So, thanks, mate. If Kolo Muani regains form, that's great, but he's potentially another Johnson/Werner. Well, that's a terrifying thought. I think he's probably a bit better than both of those guys, at least. I mean, he's definitely better than a Werner. Jono, we'll see, but I can't wait to see Van der Ven and Romero back at centre-back and have Gray in midfield. Oh, yeah. Having those two centre-backs back is going to really change this team. Obviously, Destiny's not going to be back for another couple of months now. Jed's going to be featuring at left-back probably a bit more. I thought he struggled in the first half on Saturday against Newcastle. That's why I think getting I know people want. I mean, I want a left back and I want a centre back. Whereas I don't think we're going to get both. You might get just a hybrid, which, if so, we need to get one. The irony, Calafiori's not done. He's not done brilliantly at Arsenal. He would have done better at Spurs. But that's the way the world works, isn't it? We're not going to get focused on loan unless there's a buy clause. No, I don't think Brighton want to sell him. I don't. I think Brighton just want a straight 6-month loan, send him out on loan, get him playing regularly, get him developing, score a few goals, back in the summer, ready to go. I don't think they want to sell him unless they're getting crazy money. So I was just looking at something. Just want to have you discussed Christensen? I have, very briefly. I wasn't blown away by it, Callum. How are you, mate, by the way? How are you? Looking at it, though, obviously, Liverpool. So hang on, bear with me. We play Wednesday, 8 p.m. So 2.5 days' time, basically. We will do the Liverpool preview later today, about 6 p.m. UK time, so about 7 hours' time from here. We will do the preview for the Liverpool game. Join us. I'm looking forward to doing that one because if Liverpool turn up the way they played yesterday, we might have a chance. But knowing Liverpool, they only play well when they play against Spurs. We're probably not going to have to. They're probably going to be dealing with a very, very, very good team. So we'll do that. Thanks, mate. Annie, what things do you usually utter when you stub your toe? My toe's made of steel, mate, so I break things if I stub my toe. Not my things. I break, tables and stuff. I don't know what I say, mate. I don't know what I say. Hey, Clinton, how are you? Spurs win 2-0 against Liverpool. We will be there. So, yeah, looking at it, some good stuff today. Obviously, Kolo Muani updates. I expect some stuff to come out today about it, to be honest. I think it's such an early day. Spurs normally obviously only like to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So I expect some stuff to come out today surrounding those deals. Obviously, I very much doubt any player is registered ahead of Liverpool on Wednesday. But Kinski hopefully is registered for the Tamworth game on the weekend. And then obviously Arsenal midweek following. If this guy is a guy, which can I just add this context? I don't think I truly talked about it. If this guy is a guy they've signed, obviously, to rival and push Vicario, which, by the way, update, Vicario is off crutches and walking around. He saw that we signed a keeper and went, right, I'm not having that. Not having that. Right, I'm back from this. I'm back from surgery early. I'm back walking early. I'm back in the team. I mean, hell, it wouldn't shock me if he tried to get back this month to make sure that he doesn't give Kinski enough of a run to get his first team spot. But with Kinski, if this guy is to rival Vicario, and I take what they say as gospel on this, he needs to play at the weekend. No Austin, no Forster, anyone else. He plays against Tamworth, and you give him 90 minutes to get used to playing for Spurs because he might be playing against Arsenal in the week following. So that's why I say he has to play on there. But yeah, on Kolo Muani, I expect some stuff to come out of that. I don't think Ferguson is a deal that we're going to be doing. I expect West Ham, maybe a Fulham to be interested in him. Christensen, I don't see, if I'm honest. I don't think it makes a ton of sense. They talked about how they want to buy players that are ready to go right now. He isn't a player that's ready to go right now. I mean, Kinski probably wasn't as such, but a keeper, it's a bit different. He has played some football this year, and he's been very good in that time. Kolo Muani, obviously, is a more ready-to-go player, so that deal makes a bit more sense in that regard. But Christensen doesn't make a ton of sense because he's played it only a handful of times this season. It's not someone that plays, enough for me to say he's a ready-to-go guy right now. So, look, I'm interested to see what happens. Obviously, hit the bell notification, by the way, because if breaking news does happen, I will try and go live. And if normally I'll give you either I'm going live there and then, or I'll give you it gives you like a half hour, like a message to say I'm going live in half an hour. So hit the bell notification to keep yourself up to date on that one. Kolo Muani hasn't been banned. Enrique doesn't like strikers, has a whole career. I don't think Kolo Muani is the worst guy we could get linked to. I'm not blown away by it, just because for 2 years the stats haven't really been what you'd want for a guy that's cost 85 million and 250 grand a week. Kinski's play against Arsenal as a baptism of fire. Ask Hugo Lloris about that baptism of fire. I was at that game. That was a miserable game. So look, really good stuff today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go walk my dog in the rain and in the mud. I'm going to go walk him. Otherwise, he'll go ballistic at me. But thanks very much for joining me, guys. Appreciate all the support as always. And I'll speak to you all a little bit later to talk about Liverpool in about 7 hours' time. Take care, everyone. Peace.